the things that I wanted to make sure of is, one, we do have like neurodivergent folks in our cast, but I want to make sure that we're like making a place at the table for people from the community to like give input and give perspective for the kids, so that we can do this subject matter like the due diligence it deserves. So let me look. Sorry, my laptop is dead, or I would be using that.
He has the question.
Beautiful. What is a day in the life of an autistic person like?
So personally, I'm just gonna say this out loud. My mom said it would be like a normal day. So like, I'm gonna go to social interactions here, because like I try starting up conversations sometimes at school, and then either I get ignored or there's like 1 or 2 responses and it's just done. Meanwhile, like every other conversation I've seen start up, it's like different. Also, I can hear my own echo. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That means you're projecting. You're using your voice well.
Yeah.
Nice and loud.
Okay, sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, I'm cutting off talking.
He likes to tell stories, so we talk a little bit
Perfect.
about making sure we stay on.
But I would agree with that from what I see with my 7-year-old son who's autistic, that when he approaches kids, it's kind of like a quick little bit ignored, or like, sure. And
Oh
then-
yeah. So it's not just me.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Also, I'm very social, but until recently, very bad at being social, is what I will say. So if you're bad at being social, you're not alone.
Well, and I'd like to clarify that a little bit. I was actually diagnosed after Jude was. That's a whole other thing. If you don't know, autism in girls looks very different. Most girls are undiagnosed because most of the studies about autism are based on boys.
Male.
And a very stereotypical kind of set. It's only recently that they've started to realize that autism looks all different kinds of ways, and there's whole generations of girls and women that are not
Which
diagnosed.
happens in medicine all the time,
Yes.
where medicine is, and research is more focused on men.
Yes. And so I was diagnosed after Jude, and it wasn't until I, looking back, that I had a hard time with social interactions too. I could flip from group to group and hang out with whoever, but I struggled to like fit in with a group.
Yeah.
And one thing that's interesting, he said, we need to have a talk, because he said if you're bad at social interactions,
You're not alone.
there's been plenty of studies. There's been some studies that have shown basically an autistic brain works differently than a neurotypical brain.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Yeah.
what it means.
And they did a study, I believe it was in Australia, I'll see if I can find it, where they did like the telephone game, where you whisper in someone's ear.
Yeah.
And they had a group of neurotypical people and a group of autistic people.
Oh.
When they played the game within their own group, they did great. When they mixed them together, suddenly it got all messed up. They couldn't communicate with each other. But what they found was that autistic people were just as good at communicating with each other as neurotypical people were communicating with each other. It was when they were together, they couldn't kind of communicate across that barrier. So it's not necessarily that he's everybody in town loves him. It's not that he's bad at being social. A lot of neurotypical rules for interacting socially are not written, right? They're things you just kind of pick up on. And a lot of autistic people struggle to just watch and pick that up. That doesn't mean they can't socially interact, but it's sort of like you're following a different set of rules, only these rules aren't ever actually taught. And so he's not bad at social interactions or communications, he's just fine at it. What is hard for him is taking that into the social norms that people expect.
What even are the social norms?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So great.
Well, like, help prove your point, mother.
Society has expectations, and every society is different. If you go to another country, you're probably gonna say or do something dumb because you don't know how their rules are gonna be different from our rules. And they're not gonna like have them posted on a wall somewhere, you know, you're expected to learn them. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like being placed in a different culture.
Yeah.
And you don't know the rules for interacting in that culture.
I'll add to that. So when you're placed in a different culture, you don't have to film me. And it's like, say you go to an immersion program, right, where you're gonna live in Spain and you're gonna learn Spanish, and eventually you learn Spanish and you pick up on their cultural things. I think that's what a lot of times autistic people are probably working on, because I don't know about you, Jude, but personally, like my son Norman is doing a lot of work, like trying to understand norms and understand school and all of that. So it's like, give people time and space to learn and make mistakes. And people figure it out.
Yeah, just like you would. If
Yeah.
you lived in another country long enough,
Yeah.
you would pick up on their norms. You would learn their norms and how they behave. So it really is kind of like two cultures.
I just had an idea. May I say it?
Yeah.
Is it on topic?
I'm like, go for it. Not my kid.
So
It
basically,
may be real out there. We'll see. Okay.
okay, so basically, what I was gonna say is that, like, is it like that all the people I can interact with, are those people, can I, like, if, they might not, but like, it's like some people are easier to, like, understand, like, more than,
Maybe they're more flexible with the
Yeah.
rules.
yeah,
Not
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean,
but
they could
some-
be neurodivergent in some way, but not necessarily. Some people, and this is where you guys come in, some people are just more open and accepting of people. Like, oh, this person talks differently, or they act a little differently. You can include them, and you can be that person that, hey, I can talk to. Doesn't mean that you're autistic or you're neurodivergent, but you know, some people are just more open and accepting of others.
I didn't know today would be my day of being educated on autism. It's true. I did not know.
We talk about it on like a daily basis.
I'm sure you know a lot about it.
Do you have any, like, on the day-to-day life, do you have like certain routines that you need to adhere to? Is that anything, you know what I mean?
Do you
So-
like routines?
Some of them. Depends on if I enjoy that or if I don't enjoy that. But if I don't enjoy it, if I'm getting a reward, I'm probably gonna do it. But I also have ADHD, so I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna go mow the yard. See its video game controller. And then I just start like, hey Dad, can I play Geometry Dash? Geometry Dash is a real video game. You should try it.
For us, I feel like routines help my son kind of navigate through certain sections of the day.
Yeah.
And it might be not like, say, he knows he has to brush his teeth after breakfast before we get on the bus. So it's like not something that he enjoys doing, obviously, but he knows to expect it. So versus if he was like playing a game and I'm like, time to brush your teeth, that's gonna be way worse. But he
Wait,
knows
what?
that brushing the teeth is part of his day. So I would say routines and schedules, visual schedules are a big important thing, I think, for autistic
She's looking
people.
at me like, you know, I will
Are
tell
they?
you, my house is total chaos. Everybody is, it's all ADHD, everything. I do think, this is a point, and I actually met with Angela the other day, and we talked about the whole concept of you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. There are some autistic people who really must have their routines, and most people in general thrive on routines, but there are some people that just really struggle to do anything without them. Or sometimes OCD is a part of it, and you have to, like, we'll talk about it later.
Not yet.
You have to, they have to, like, they feel compelled to do the same way. That is not the case in our home, but it is the case for some people. So that's there's a lot of stereotypes about autism, and the more you learn about it, the more you find out that, like, there's this whole wide variety of people whereas one person, they thrive on this, and another person,
This
but I do agree with one thing that's can be very hard, at least, and it was in our house, was transitions, transitioning from one thing to another. So while we don't have a strict routine, and this goes for like his little brother too, if we say, you know, they're in the middle of a video game and we say, it's time to do this thing now, we're probably gonna have a meltdown. But if we set a timer and we say, you have 10 minutes when the timer goes off, and they know that there's an okay, they know ahead of time, I have 10 minutes, they can sort of prepare themselves mentally, that switch goes a lot easier to transition to whatever the next thing is.
Which I think a lot of like the strategies, you know, that are taught to, in my case, parents of autistic kids are like good strategies in parenting in general, you know, like. It's not like you have to do this because they're autistic. I think like autistic minds have kind of maybe helped figuring out some good strategies for parenting in general. Because
I mean, think about
timers
yourself.
are used. I always hear timers going off at the park.
Well, we
for
all
kids.
want a warning, don't we? I mean,
Yeah.
if you're in the middle of something you're into, like you don't want to be just, especially if you're really focused and into it, you don't want to be just pulled out of it. Like, so I think, you know, giving a heads up and a warning is for everybody is a good thing.
So with I love that you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person because it can manifest so differently. What is the process of getting diagnosed like if it can be so very varied, I guess?
I bet I don't remember. Probably because of like 2 or 3.
Yeah, my son was around 2.
Oh, okay.
So.
Also, is there anybody who would like to speak up in autistic? My mom said that there would be several people, so I did.
No, I know. I thought her husband was.
Yeah, I'm
Get
sorry.
up here with us.
Angela's up here with us, and I thought her husband was that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. He'll be here next week. Sorry.
Yeah. So diagnosis can be tricky. It kind of really just depends on the situation. Most people are, if they're going to be diagnosed, are going to be diagnosed young. And those people are going to be people that display very classic symptoms. Those that don't fit the mold, if they kind of slip through the cracks, or maybe there's a lot of people whose parents aren't educated, they don't know what it is, they don't know what it looks like.
And denial, I'll say
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of denial.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
stigma with it, like, you know, even when we were getting him diagnosed, we had family members who said, no, he's not autistic, we love him, he's perfect. And we were like, well, that doesn't change anything.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. So true, my mom. So
But
true.
they're, you know, they want to say like, no, we love. They weren't trying to be mean. They're just saying
Yeah.
we love him. There's nothing wrong with him, and there wasn't anything wrong with him. But it's hard for some people, especially older people or people from different cultures, where you know you have to remember that it wasn't that long ago that people who had disabilities or autism were shut away in asylums. They didn't live at home with their parents. They were in fact they were encouraged to send their children off.
So if you hear about an increase in diagnosis in the news, it's because that's what we used to do.
Yeah, and so people would protect their children by not getting them diagnosed. You know, we're gonna make them look as normal as possible, which caused a lot of trauma to a lot of those kids. But so we want to make them fit in, that we don't want them to stand out, because they stand out, you know, the nail that sticks up is the one that gets hammered. So diagnosis for us started, he was very little. Hang on, you don't remember getting diagnosed?
I wanna.
We thought we did not see it. And we are very educated. My husband and I both have master's degrees, but we weren't educated about autism. And we basically knew the stereotypes like everybody else. And we remember saying when he was a baby, he smiled and he made eye contact. And so we were like, we literally made a joke, like, at least we know he's not autistic. And then when he was about 2.5, he started speech. He was a preemie. So we thought, you know, he hit all his milestones, but he was just a little slow getting there. We thought it was just because he was preemie. And when he was about 2.5, they said, it was a speech therapist who said, you know, I think maybe he's got some, they wouldn't tell us. That's the other thing. They're real weird about it. They won't actually come out and tell you, because they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Wait,
he has some symptoms that could end up in a diagnosis. And we were like, what are you talking about? Well, he just, you know, could end up with a diagnosis. And finally we were like, are you talking about autism? Like, what are you talking about? And so we went in and got him evaluated, and of course, Yeah, he.
Yay.
But we didn't know. All we knew, we had seen. There's a certain organization that has made some scary films and documentaries and commercials about autism. I had seen those when I was younger, and I was terrified of it. Thankfully, those don't go out anymore. But that's all we knew. So if you only know the stereotypes, you really don't know autism.
So one way you could think about autism is like different computer languages. Like, let's say that a neurotypical person is like, I don't know, it's like Windows or whatever. It operates in a certain way, right? Like, does everyone know like what a Windows computer looks like? And so, an autistic person would be like a Google Chromebook or a Mac and stuff. Like, they would have different programming languages. So, like, let's say Windows is good at running this video game, and it's really good at it. Meanwhile, Mac, it's like crash. And different, and like on the autism spectrum, like varying on your intensity, like you could end up with something like Linux or whatever, and something that's like I know some Linux versions are harder to use than others. Like people who can't talk or whatever, like it's hard to interact with them, which is how I'm seeing it. So it really just depends on like where you are on the spectrum, and yeah, I mean that's the only real way I can describe it.
That's a terrific analogy.
Yeah.
Terrific.
It is?
Yes. It really, it's really very explanatory.
Yeah. And
The Linux is
diagnosis for other older people, I can tell you, is very, especially for girls and even younger girls, can be very difficult. A lot of times girls are misdiagnosed. You just have social anxiety or something else. They don't like to diagnose girls unless they're very, very like stereotypical, nonverbal.
Do you want to talk about masking?
Why?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah, masking is very, one of the reasons, there's the reasons that girls don't get diagnosed as much is because they're masters at masking. Or sometimes people call it camouflaging. But if you think about it, generally in society, and this may not be true in your home, a lot of times girls are taught more explicitly how to behave. At least back in the day. You act like a lady, boys will be boys, right?
That's just unfair.
So we were just taught more explicitly, sit this way, act this way, talk this way. Well, you're getting those explicit rules, right? You're learning how you're supposed to behave. Also, girls tend to be more socially motivated than boys. Not always, but sometimes. They want to fit in. And so what a lot of times girls do is they'll sit back and they watch and they mimic how other people behave. Now, that doesn't mean that it comes naturally to them or that they understand why they're doing what they're doing. They're just mimicking to try to blend in. And so a lot of times they can be easy to miss because they look like they blend in. But inside here, it's a whole mess of like, I don't have any clue what's happening right now, but I'm just gonna try to play it off and act like I can. Because I don't know your experience.
Well, yeah, I don't think Norman masks yet, but yeah, that's how I understand it, is just kind of like I'm putting on a mask, like in my head, I have different thoughts that are really what are going on, but I'm just trying to fit in every day. And I think probably neurotypical people do this too, when you go to school and you feel like you don't fit in, or you're not with your group of kids, and you're kind of just trying to stay cool, and I know that girls mask a lot more than boys do, so that's why they can kind of be missed in the diagnosis process, is because like you have friends, you dress cute, you do your hair, you do all the things that girls do, like you seem fine. And then also about masking, I know that it takes a lot of energy to do that all day, and so a lot of times when kids are doing that all day at school and then they go home, it's kind of like a meltdown, or they just need to stim, or they just need to spin around in their chair, or they just need to like have some alone time and not talk to anybody, like decompress for a little bit. That's kind of what my knowledge base is on masking.
Absolutely. And also with that, you guys talked about special interests? No. Okay.
No, we
A lot of autistic people are very passionate about something, special interest, and you know, the stereotypical thing is like trains,
Dinosaurs.
yeah. With girls, a lot of times,
What is so funny?
We love
I
dinosaurs.
really love dinosaurs.
Oh.
My sister has autism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Does she love dinosaurs?
I
or
like-
She
no?
does, yeah.
I like computers.
Hey, me too.
Yeah. But a lot of times with girls, it's not something that looks like it's considered odd, like different. Like it's like maybe they're obsessed with like a band or a pop star or something,
Appearance.
but
you know?
it's the degree to which they are invested in that is much more intense. But you know, most girls go through a horse's phase. I don't know why. It's not. But the thing is, it's easy to overlook because that's what other girls their age are interested in.
But does everyone have a wall full of horses in every horse?
Every
poster?
waking
Does the
moment
horse
is
camp?
obsessed with it.
Yeah. I would say diagnosis too for my son was pretty much how you explained it. 2 years old, kind of everyone was like, oh, something's going on, and got the ball rolling from there.
Okay.
Yeah. And before my son came along, we knew nothing about it except for the very stereotypical things that you see in media or by organizations.
One thing is true that I want to talk about two different things at once.
Start with one, pick one to start with, and then you can move to the second.
Okay, so the first thing is that I used to be more interested in video games than I am programming video games, which two very similar things, but obviously one is you're making the game and the other is you're playing the game. But when I was like what you would call a gamer, I had this huge Minecraft phase, and like it lasted for years.
Like every other kid
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah, but then I started getting into Kirby and other video games, and of course now I have the stereotypical monthly Minecraft addiction phase, does anyone know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My own child.
So I was like going through like different phases, like Minecraft to Kirby, and I think I had a really Pokemon phase with Pokemon Scarlet, and now I've like and I also had a Zelda phase, if anyone knows what Zelda or Kirby is.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. There are people who do not know what either of those are. And I just want to make sure that people know what in the world I am talking about. So, one thing I will say is that if you try stepping out of your comfort zone, like you try like something new, it can full on become like a passion, and then like of course now like I play a lot of video games, but I'm in my what you would call a Geometry Dash phase, which is a cheap game, but it has existed for a long time.
Yeah.
He loves that game.
Yes, I do. You are very correct.
They are American teenagers. They know what.
They are.
They know what you guys know what Geometry Dash is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have an account on there named Jude Team. I recently uploaded a level that I did not want to make, but I was forced to by my little brother. But aside from that, the level before that I put a lot of work and effort into that.
He really wants to get rated.
Yeah.
Focus on autism.
I want to focus on ADHD. I mean, ADHD. I feel like ADHD also has, I think, some like level that you gotta talk about it. Maybe we should talk about it. I mean,
Well, I mean, yeah, it's very, very common for people to have both. Very, very common.
Yeah. my son
like
does.
me.
My husband does, yeah.
Yeah. We have a
Yeah,
question
there we
for
go. Yeah.
What's like the main differences between like ADHD and autism?
Oh, I can't answer that. I don't know.
So I literally just told her the other day that the more I read about it, the more I'm convinced they're part of the same spectrum. They're very similar. There's sensory issues in both. There's focus and attention issues in both. I think maybe the primary difference is that, and they both can have social issues too. I think autism usually has more pronounced social issues. And then some people with autism also, there's a speech component that some people have a speech delay. That's one of the most common things that people notice, usually about 2-3 years old, that kids who are talking will suddenly lose speech and have a speech delay. Not everybody, but that's a big part of it. So there are some things that are different. And ADHD, there's different types of ADHD, because it's not all hyperactive. There's what they have inattentive, like the person who just sits and stares and doesn't know what's going on. We have, whereas autism tends to make you focus singularly on, get tunnel vision.
Is it hyperfocus?
Hyperfocus,
Okay,
yeah. ADHD is more like, oh, but here, and so.
I think I have both. I might have both types of ADHD.
My son does, so
Yeah.
it's called
Wait.
combined.
Wait, does that mean I have 3 types of neurodivergency?
I think you have
If
your own
that's,
special
if that's true, I am triple the neurodivergent.
Yes.
Another thing is, you guys notice him bouncing around, jumping around up here. Do you want to explain what that is? The sounds you make?
What it?
Tell them what it's called.
I think I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
My mom just whispered to me that it's called stemming. What? It's the truth.
That's
It's
awesome. It is
called
the truth.
Stemming. I don't know. It just happens. Okay. It's like it's an impulse. It's just an impulse that I want to do something. It's so. Hold on. I'm just gonna go off stage real quick.
No, this is great. You got the whole
Just-
stage, yeah.
Self-stimulatory
no one
behavior.
can see me other than
Stimming.
Oh, I didn't know that.
really?
So,
Self-stimulatory behavior.
well, why is the word stimulated in the acronym? What's the dance you guys do?
When he's excited, he tends to bounce a lot, jump a lot. He also makes a lot of noises, especially when he's happy or excited. Okay, now you're just showing off. Come back here.
I heard it described as
I mean,
like,
that was just an exaggerated version of it. I have it under control, but that's basically what it feels like in my mind sometimes.
I've heard it described as like an uncontrollable like release of energy. And the only reason I feel like I haven't done any research on this at all, but I feel like there's a lot of stems in the world that are kind of just like socially accepted, but like then it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum of stems. Maybe there's some that
Everybody
are
stems.
not. So like people that are doing this all the time, people that are picking their fingers all the time, twirling your
Pen
hair.
clickers. The pen clickers.
Yeah,
The pen
clickers.
tappers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, twirl.
Yeah,
I
I
used
know.
to twirl my hair.
All of that's
She'll diagnose me. I used to twirl my hair all the time and just sit there and play with my hair and pick out my dead ends, and it's like as you're twirling your hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think of it as a.
There's a good chance that in fact, if you join some of the autism groups, they'll tell you everybody stems.
Yeah.
It's just not as noticeable. Look, he's sitting there flicking his pencil right there.
And
Like
tapping his
everybody
foot.
does it, right? You're flicking yours. It's just the way you're doing your thumbs, right? That everybody does it. It's just that
Social
they do it a
acceptance,
different
I
way,
think.
and it's a little bigger.
Yeah.
With autism, you see a lot of jumping, spinning, flapping is the one they talk about a lot. Like
Yeah.
you see a lot of some kids do it more than others.
Or just
The flapping or the
Drumming.
my kid's into chewing on his shirt collar right now.
Oh, chewing's a big one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see kids with the little chewing necklaces because they chew up their clothes.
Yeah.
Oh, hoodie strings.
Mm-hmm.
And-
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Strings or
Pens.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Why pens? out of all things.
Because
It's
you
there.
Have it in
You got it in your
hands.
hand. You're forced to hold it all day at school.
So, do you notice that you're,
extreme.
Jude, I have a question for you. Do you notice that you're stemming that release of energy is more prevalent when you're having like big emotions, whether happy, sad, scared, any of it, or is it all the time?
No. No.
When you're sitting at home and you're just calm, you're not doing it. But when
I've never paid attention to that.
when you get excited or happy, you know, like if he's watching a movie or something and there's a really exciting part, he'll stand up and start jumping up and down.
Or
like,
there's a kid, which I always call hanky panky.
Kiss.
I'm like, no, I don't want to watch. I mean, if it's semi-romantic, even semi-romantic, I'm just like, I'm just like, I don't know. It's just like, I don't want to look, and then at some point I'm like, I gotta look. And I sit there like a
That's how we
normal
all feel.
person, even though my mind is still going, and so it's like, and my physical body is also going like. So I mean, if you see what I mean, you know what I mean. What?
Get the paper.
One thing I would say is just to be careful about like, when you're, you know, interpreting media about autistic people. I think a lot of times that, I mean, I guess the best advice is like, if it's from an autistic person, it can be a trusted source. But like anything, like any art, like any
Yeah.
news, like you gotta kind of know, think about where it's coming from, right? Like, have you guys heard of the TV show on Netflix, Love on the Spectrum?
Love on the.
Right, so I've never
What?
I've never watched it, but like some people love the show and I've learned so much about autistic people from it, and some people think that it's infantilizing and it's kind of showing a very rosy picture of autistic people because all of the people who are on the show are from very well-to-do families, etc., etc. So I would say just always kind of, and like you were saying about the videos that you probably saw from Autism Speaks, I'm assuming. An
Yeah, I hadn't
organization
said it out
about-
loud. I will tell you, in the autistic community, Autism Speaks is not loved at
Yeah.
all. Autism Speaks in the past has put out some really like scary
Hurtful things.
videos about like
Yeah.
autism's gonna ruin your child's life and ruin your life kind of stuff. There's a really creepy one where like autism's stalking they're around the corner. They're around like it's they've gotten better, but a lot of people still don't trust them. There are autistic-led organizations like the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. There are a whole lot of autistic advocates online that you can follow, and I'm happy to send some to your teacher later.
Yes,
One
please.
thing you can do is look up #actuallyautistic. That is like the big, yeah. And you're not, and even in some of those groups and things, you're not gonna find everybody
Yeah.
agrees on things. Like I had asked her about this play. I said, "Is this the play they're doing?"
I was gonna bring it up too.
So yeah, years ago they did this at Hudson College, and I bought the book to read it. They're split on this book because some people feel it's way too stereotypical, and also it's not written by an autistic person. And I don't know about the play, but the novel. And then there are other people who say, actually, I really related to that. Like I felt like it was, you know, about my life. What is cool is with all the new technology we have, a lot of people who had limitations on being able to share in the past now have the world at their fingertips. They can tell their stories, they can tell their experiences, and that's why you see so many autistic advocates online, because maybe they have really severe social anxiety, or maybe they struggle with speaking, or maybe they're even nonverbal. But now they can type, they can write, they can make videos to share their experience, which is really cool. And there are some people who are nonverbal that have done amazing things. There's a Japanese boy, I can't think of his name. He wrote a book, The Reason I Jump. He's nonverbal, what some people would call severely autistic, although we don't really use those labels now.
That
But,
is rude.
he wrote a whole book. You know, there's a comedian, Carly Fleischman, she's a comedian. She's nonverbal. She uses a talker machine.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
yeah, so like with technology, where in the past people would have assumed that some of these people, you know, had the mentality of a small child and couldn't, you know, now we're finding out, no, there's a whole world in there. And now they finally have tools to get that out and
Yeah.
express this and tell us what they're really thinking.
One of the things I wanted to touch on, so the play takes place in the early 2010s ish, which is when like I was in college, and just the view people have of autism has evolved so much since that time.
Rapidly.
Yeah, like just so quickly and so much, which
Exponentially?
is great. Yes. And like the being diagnosed later in life, like my husband was as well, getting rid of the fear that he had because of all of the bad media and everything else around it was really a journey. So having to get into that world, in the world of the play, where like no one is really accommodating to Christopher very much, like at all. Like he has a really hard time. It reminds me again, like, oh my gosh, we have a lot of work to do, but we've done a lot of work too. Like, whoo,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. You might look up at some point, if you have a chance, the social model of disability, which is basically the idea that people are really, especially like autistic people, but other disabilities too, are really only disabled by the way society is constructed.
Yeah.
Because society is constructed around neurotypical people. That's why we have a disability. But if society were structured for autistic people, it would be neurotypical people that had, had the disability, because they would struggle to function in that world. So I think it's really awesome what you guys are doing, because the more you spread awareness, the more accepting and people are and welcoming. And there's always been a thing for awareness. We don't push for awareness now, we push for acceptance.
Yes.
And in the past there was very much a push to like fix these kids, right? We're not about that. We're about let these kids be who they are and accept them as they are. And while we've come a long way, one thing I do want to address, because I was a teacher until very recently, we know not to use the R word, yes?
Yes.
Okay?
What is
In the
R
last
word?
few years, I have heard people using autistic the same way. I've heard students in my classroom using that the
using
same way.
it for awkward or
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, you're so autistic.
a touch
Like,
of the
come on guys,
tism.
if you hear that, shut it down. Autistic is not an insult.
Mm.
It's not an insult, and we don't need to use it that way. So if you hear that, please shut it down.
It's also like not something cool to try to adopt either. Like I see a lot on social media.
That's
like,
what I see more as
here's all my collection of teapots, just my touch of the tism, and it's like, no, just because you like collecting teapots doesn't necessarily mean that you're autistic, or just because you are unorganized doesn't mean you have ADHD, or just because you like to clean doesn't mean you're OCD. So like, kind of like, those are there
Yeah.
for a reason, and
If you look at like the traits, if you look at a list of the traits, there's a good chance that you're gonna say, oh, I do that, oh, I do that, oh, I do that. It's the degree to which you do it and how much it impacts your daily
yeah,
life.
how many like accommodations you need
Right.
because of it, I think.
one of the main things that we wanted to accomplish with this show is bring the audience into Christopher's mind so that we can like embrace empathy for other people's perspectives and help folks maybe understand. So I don't know if you could answer this because I'm totally springing this on you. What would it look like, do you think, if you had like a staging of your mind? Would it be, yeah,
Oh.
We have blocks right here too.
yeah, we do.
He really wants.
Yeah, he wanted to see them.
Yeah, our set is, so Christopher loves Tetris, like he plays it every day, the character. So our set is made of Tetris pieces.
Okay.
But
He's gonna play Tetris.
I read it, but I don't remember it very well.
so like, how, do you have any ideas design-wise of how to bring an audience into like your mind for a while?
You just gave me a brilliant idea. I know my mom is smiling. So
The idea
basically,
you told me in the car.
it's similar. So basically, the idea is that you have like it's basically just like entirely improv, but all the actors beforehand are like just are basically just basically like doing what they are exactly thinking, unless it's private, of course. But like, let's say, yeah, this head just blocked, and then I'm like, Tetris! This is what my Minecraft house looks like in one of my rooms. World, sorry, it's true. I have a Tetris-shaped built house in Minecraft. And then this other guy's like, and then I'm like, what? And it's just like, and then this other person is like, bang! Or something
Are
like
you
that.
kind of talking about the improv and the unpredictability that we were talking about?
Yeah, but these are all like autistic people. So like, it's literally a staging of their minds at work, and then like you could give them like stuff to build with, or like these props that they could like slide in and out to like build a stage, and then they could be like, hey guys, I think we should do this, and then there would be like a no, and I'm like, why?
Do you mean like everybody's sort of building their own model of their mind, but it's like a different, everybody has a different model, everybody has different materials they're working with?
I know.
No,
That's what I
they
was
all
thinking.
share the same materials, so it's basically just like people. It's just like the way like autism is with like different people. Like I have autism and ADHD. I have ADHD. I already said I have ADHD, but I almost said it again. Oh wait, I just did. But one thing I will say is that it's like ADHD. In like what I know of it, it's like, oh look, it's a tree, and then I hear this one song, and I'm like, eh? Oh cool, it's a squirrel. I gotta chase it. And then the squirrel runs away, and then I'm like, okay.
So if they were wanting to give the audience that feeling, maybe sort of being overstimulated, overwhelmed, there's too many things
Yes.
in different directions, and where do I focus? You know, because a lot of times, like for instance, people act like, oh, well, maybe they don't know things. They might know it, but when your brain is overstimulated and you can't focus, I mean, think about trying to take a math test or something, and there's noise going on, and you're like, I know this, but I can't like focus to get it down. It's like that, but it's like that. It can be like that all the time, and so you could maybe, I know it's kind of hard to put into.
No, that's really helpful, because that's one of the things that we had talked about is in the moments that he gets overwhelmed, how do we have the audience go with him to get that overwhelm? And like,
What if you had people going like up and down the aisles, like waving those little ribbon things or whatever, and like
Yeah.
even think
they're
like
trying to
lights
focus on
or
the
lights
stage.
is what we had, yeah.
They're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to focus on the stage, but you've got all this craziness going on around them. And then at the end, you could say, you know, we wanted you to experience what that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say too, probably at times it's very organized and fine.
Oh,
when,
yeah.
When, you know, the person is feeling fine and
When
calm,
they're
and then
regulated,
at times it could get overwhelming and chaotic, but sometimes that chaos might feel good. Like it just,
Yeah.
I think it depends on the moment and what you're trying to convey. But I think, yeah, like even like strobe lights, sometimes it's,
Yep.
when I think of like a person kind of being like overwhelmed, that's what I think of like going on in their mind, or even noise, like,
Yep.
Just like, so it's just so who here watches Star Wars? Okay, I don't know. This is totally unrelated. So in their mind, what she just said, I was just thinking that it was just a B1 battle droid, also known as the Clinker, go like, in their mind. The people who do not watch Star Wars will not understand that until you tell them. So I encourage you to now tell them, and I will give you, on the count of 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5.
But yeah, so regulated is what she's talking about.
Yeah,
When you're and it's like this again. It's like this for everybody. It's just the degree. When you're feeling calm and regulated, that's when you can think best and do your best. when you're out of sorts, and like one thing that gets him out of sorts is like if we're cleaning the house and I tell him like I'm like, do this and do this and do this, and he's like, I can't, like tell me one thing, I can't, you know. Sometimes you have to like, let's focus on the first thing first.
Yes.
And then the next thing.
Yes, exactly.
She's got a question.
I was just gonna ask, for my sister, it's like she likes to do her own things. Otherwise, like when other people tell her to do stuff, even if it's structured, it overwhelms her. I was just curious, for you specifically, is it the opposite? Would it be the same way? Which do you feel?
Me or him?
Both of you. I mean,
I think that's a pretty common. He's always wanted to do his own thing.
Yeah.
Like even at school, like sometimes his teachers just give up and they're like, let him do it his way, because when he was little, for instance, he would do coloring sheets. He flipped them over and drew his own pictures on the back.
that's such a wonderful metaphor for
Like, really?
But it's real.
One time in preschool, they had a little book of letters, and they had him like draw a picture of something that starts with each letter. When they got to L, and they were showing this at our meeting, like, this is the kind of stuff he does. He had a bunch of like lines all over the paper for L, and we're like, what is that? It's a ladder. It's a broken ladder.
I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and he would draw pictures where like you couldn't tell what they were. You look at it and you'd be like, what is this picture? Well, it was because there was movement in it. Like, oh, well, this is a ball, and then it bounced here, and it bounced here, and then it went way over here, and then it bounced here. And so that would be drawing, you know, and so he's always done things by his own rules.
I made it cute.
You know, and for me personally, I can follow it, but yeah, there's definitely that internal, like, I don't know if everybody is that, like, I want to do it my way. You know, as an adult, you have to kind of be able to work, but yeah. Even now, there's things we try to tell him, like, do it this way, and he's like, let me do it my own way.
Yes.
I have questions.
So it'd be like for you parents and then also you, Jude, how do you go about setting boundaries, like social boundaries or just boundaries in general?
Okay.
Come up here.
He's putting on a whole show.
I know. He
It's
really
okay.
wanted to give a TED talk. He was
He's got this whole stage. Why not?
Okay, so basically, we'll just use this chair as a door. Please leave me alone. Okay,
Okay, tell her about what you did
And
with
then-
your door at home.
and then and then they're like, they come in my room, and then I'm like, please get out of my room. And then they're like, no, but I said get out of my room. Which is how,
Okay, but tell them about your system, like your sign system you have on your door.
yeah, so, I had a school therapist, her name was Miss Jen, and, basically, she was like a therapist that helped me with like my impulse control and that stuff, but she helped me make a sign system, and, my sign is like, this says go, and then you can go in, and then you flip it around, and then you say, and then it's like, stop. If you come in here, you have violated the law. Yeah.
He really
But
likes his privacy, so he wanted a way to let us know if it was okay to come in or not.
The only issue, I always forget about it, is the issue. So I'm like, so that's my little brother, I'm like, knock on my door if you want to come in, and then I will give you a proof, and then like, if I say you can come in, you can come in, you know. And then he knocks, opens the door, no asking.
Okay, that's not, come on up here.
I would say-
know like how you said it, not.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Let her
yeah, but I just tell them, you know.
I don't know if this is what your question was referring to, but my son's only 7, right? So I'm not 100% sure like what he's thinking all the time. He's verbal and everything, but you know, doesn't come home and tell me deep stories or anything just yet. But I with boundaries for him, I feel like he doesn't understand boundaries with other people a lot. So like I notice him with other kids and adults as well, but adults are of course more accepting of it. Just being like right on top of them, or really loud, or really touchy, or just very exaggerated, and kind of the other kids are like, like chill out, man. So yeah, I don't think he kind of understands like personal space and giving people time to react to you.
Your personal bubble.
Well, and that's something that Jude has struggled with too, and we have to. When he was little, it was worse. Like he would be tickling his teachers, or we sat at a school concert once, and he sat there and rubbed his teacher's hair the whole time. And
the teacher's probably like, fine, you know,
and
I get it.
yeah,
But a
sometimes
kid
he
would be
gets
like,
too
"Hey."
close, or he gets too loud, and we have to remind him like that's a constant refrain in like personal space. Give him personal space because he gets excited, and it's not like he's trying to intrude. It's just like he gets excited. I want to talk to you. I want to be close to you, and so sometimes you think about like I don't know. I remember seeing a show where there was like somebody teaching a class of autistic kids and like art or something, and somebody came in and touched this kid and he started screaming, and they were like, never touch an autistic kid, and I was like, what on earth? Yes, there are some autistic people who don't want to be touched, no. But then there are some people who very much want to be in your space. And I think what the thing is it's all or not. Like it's always it's extremes, right? Whereas you kind of know proper spacing. Someone steps too close to you, you kind of step back, or you kind of keep that natural distance. Whereas sometimes autistic people don't pick up on that. They get excited, they want to talk to you, they might get too close. Or maybe you're too close for their comfort and they're going to be too far.
Yeah, I think it's just another example of like unwritten rules that we learn growing up and, you know, living in a society that like are just harder for autistic people to learn. And a lot of autistic people work really hard to learn those things, so.
How do you try to compensate for that yourself? So like if you are starting to get frustrated with like them overstepping your boundaries, how do you go about enforcing your own boundaries?
I also have a 3-year-old who is autistic, lower needs than my 7-year-old, and I have a baby, 18-month-old. So I have kids crawling all over me all the time. So I'm not very good at like setting those boundaries. I feel like when I need a break, it's like I go outside for whatever reason. Like I go outside and I'm instantly like,
Ooh,
and
sunshine.
then can go back into the den. But I don't know if you guys have a different experience.
Oh no,
or-
I feel that to my core. I have a 7-year-old who's very clingy, climbing all over me all the time. And I know, and I feel like, I feel like similar. I tend to remove myself from the situation. Like in my house, I'll be like, I need to go take a break. I'm gonna go lay down for a minute, or I'm gonna go for a drive and I just go to Sonic and sit there for a little while. Or in public, if I'm at a meeting or whatever, I found that my best friend is public bathrooms, because you can go in there and close the stall and you're in there by yourself and nobody can mess with you and nobody's gonna dare ask you why you were in there so long, right? Like that's rude. And so you can like, you need a break. If you're in a loud, crazy place, I go find a bathroom and just sit there until I'm calm, and I don't know if that helps or not.
Sorry,
Smart.
we have to go. We have a robotics presentation.
it's
I
okay.
just want to say thank you guys so much.
Best
Thank
of
you for
luck to
sharing.
you. Good luck to you.
Thank you all.
Thanks
I
for
like your
having us.
guys' sweaters.
Good luck. Thank you.
Adios. Have a good day.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard to set boundaries in general, I think.
Mhm. Well, there tends to be a because autistic people are not always good with social roles, there tends to be a, like, you get perceived as being rude a lot when it's really you don't mean to be. And so once you're kind of aware of that, at least in my experience, I feel like I become hyper aware of that. And so I'm very like, I don't want to do anything that's rude because I know people are going to think I'm rude. And so I feel like I kind of go over like too far of not speaking up or not saying something. Yeah, and I think for him too, he tends to just take a break. And we've really advocated with his teachers at school. We've explained what his needs are. And so they know, like, if he needs a quiet space, he can have a quiet space or whatever. And it's kind of similar at home. Like, if he's overwhelmed, he's going to go to his room. And it's only hard when you can't escape. It's hard when you can't escape, like when it's loud and chaotic and you can't escape. But yeah, if you can go outside or go in a small room that's quiet, that's a bathroom if you have nothing else.
Yeah, sometimes it's just better to go. Like just sleep.
Sleep. Okay, you could have just said sleep.
Christopher does that a lot in the play,
Oh, does
actually.
he?
He
He
goes
gets
down into a ball because he gets overstimulated and he
yeah.
like, yeah, so.
Yeah, I'll just say, like, my 7-year-old especially his first 2 years of school, like when he didn't want to do anything or would feel, I don't know why necessarily, but like, yeah, down to the floor, under the tables, that kind of escape, like, I need a calming kind of grounding moment.
My 7-year-old used to do that too. He doesn't do it as much now, but he's very, very extremely shy. Like you can't, like people talk to him and he's like, why are they talking to me? But when he was little, he would lay down. Like
Yeah.
I remember my neighbor being like, hi, and he
shutting
threw
down.
himself on the ground and curled up in a ball. So
Oh.
yeah. And you see a lot of that mostly with younger kids, but I think a lot of times I think we have such good resources today, and we work so hard to help kids find strategies to help themselves. So where you see a kid like, how old is he supposed to be in the play?
15.
15, but it's very likely he was never taught good coping strategies.
Right, because this was in 2010. So.
Yeah.
So you may not be as likely to see that with a 15-year-old, depending on their needs, right, and where they are, because it's very likely they've been taught strategies to cope, or they've been taught how to self-advocate and say, hey, I need a moment, you know.
Yeah, he's definitely not taught to self-advocate, I would say. Like he's
Kind of
in the
spot on.
play, I think they're trying, like Siobhan, the teacher, is trying her best and stuff, but it seems like, I mean, it really emphasizes that the world is built for neurotypicals, and that is really hard for him to thrive in, I would say.
Yeah, the book. So he writes a book, and the idea is that we're getting to see inside his brain, and we get to hear him say, I don't like this. I need people to be like that. And, but I don't think he's ever been taught how to advocate out loud to the world around him.
That's a hard skill for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It
even more
really
so
is.
girls.
Well, and a lot of autistic people have social anxiety, so that like amplifies that, like.
Yeah.
And man,
Let him ask again.
So, like, I know you talked about, like, how you take breaks when you get frustrated and all that. Jude, like, how do you deal with that? Like, when you get, like, really frustrated with something, like, how do you help cope with that?
Just taking deep breaths.
I was gonna say, are you doing it now? You're a deep breather?
Yep. Also, what helps me is just going to my room. And also, sometimes I accidentally slam the door. Oops, I slammed the door. Hold on. Sound alike.
Okay. You don't have to act it all out, Darren. You can just tell them.
Well, I feel like acting
He's
helps.
already such
He's
a
very
And-
physical. You may have noticed that. He's very has a lot of.
I mean, he is on a
personality.
stage.
To show- I know, and he's never really.
You're supposed to be
Oh,
acting.
he seems like such a theater kid already.
You know why? You know
I think
why
mine
he
might
wouldn't
be
be a
also.
theater kid?
Huh.
Because he wouldn't want to say somebody else's lines.
Yes.
That Christopher actually says that in the play.
No, for
He's
real.
like, actors are liars, and
The first time he tried to play D&D, he got mad and came home because he didn't want to do whatever the dungeon master.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't. If he could lead it,
Clarification.
he could be in charge. He'd
Hold
know
on.
all about it. But when someone else is in charge,
I see.
Clarification. D&D, you're supposed to be able to do whatever you want, but my dungeon master was just really angry that day and was really strict for no apparent reason other than that they were angry.
you also did not play, so.
Well, yeah, but you're supposed to be able to do whatever you want. So, like, I'm like, there was this one scene where it was like, you're in like a void or whatever, and there's an oven, and I'm like, I kicked the oven. And then and she's like, no, you can't do that.
Refocus.
I'm using example.
But you're just talking about D&D now.
Oh.
But yeah.
Oh,
that's,
okay.
I mean, that is really very much. In fact, he was telling me on the way here, he had an idea for a play. He thought someone could write a play that just has a very general outline,
Yeah.
and that the rest would be basically improv. But
Yeah.
you had to follow the outline of the main events of the story, but how you got there would be improv. And
Yeah.
see, that is like, yeah, because you're not telling me what I have to say.
Yes,
But if
I
you're
want
telling
that.
me I have to memorize these and I have to say it a certain way and I have to walk out here a certain way or whatever,
Nope.
He's gonna
not-
be like, no, I want to do it my own way.
That sounds actually unreasonable. Like, you cannot expect me to completely memorize an entire script.
That's what these kids are doing.
I don't
Only a
think.
little bit older than you.
I think I see a piece of paper on her on her.
Yep. We just started.
It
Yep.
started.
Oh, it takes. Of course.
Yeah.
I wanted
Of
to
course.
go back to when we were
Of
talking
course.
about like big behaviors, kind of like when the kids flop down on the floor or like loud screams or things like that, especially in public places. And I feel like it's harder when they're young that other people are like bad kid, bad parent, or maybe we're just feeling that way. So it's like I wish, and especially older people, I feel like are worse about this, but I wish people could like understand the difference between the kid having a fit because he wants candy versus the kid having a fit because he can't take it anymore in
He's
the same
so
store and
overstimulated
there's
and-
music and everyone's loud and it smells in here. I feel like that's a big struggle for us because we're in the earlier stages, 3 and 7 years old.
Meltdown's not a choice.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
a tantrum could be a choice. Like, oh, I want that, so I'm gonna throw a fit about it. A meltdown isn't a choice. It's I'm overwhelmed and I can't. hold
Is
in.
it like that the emotions just get so big and it's just like you can't?
Yeah. With my 7-year-old, it's so quick too. It's really quick and it resolves quickly also. So it's like a real quick little dip, but I mean, everyone's different, of course. But yeah, you just
And also sometimes it's
control it.
not a big thing. Sometimes it's the buildup. Like it's been building all day, and that one little thing happens, and it's like, that's it. I get, and I think that happens to everybody to some extent. Yeah. But
I
like,
think they're called crash outs nowadays. With you guys.
I'm not up to
Yeah,
that.
I think like
Having a crash
adults
today.
our age are probably
It's
getting
fifth day.
better at
It's fifth day.
recognizing that, and teachers, because of parents, are getting better at recognizing that, but it's still very much the people who have no experience with it, which was us a few years ago, and older people especially.
I think with kids like
so talk to your
age,
grandmas. No.
like whereas we're talking about like adults recognizing it, with kids your age, the biggest thing is a lot of times these kids, especially if again they may not be diagnosed because their parents may have no idea, is this whole concept of like they're just a weird kid. And there's actually a meme going around online where it's like, they say, oh, back in my day we didn't have all this autism, we didn't. Yeah, you did, you just called them the weird kid. Is instead of being like, oh my god, he's so weird, maybe try to recognize like, hey, maybe he is neurodivergent, maybe he has autism. He might not be in a special class, he might not have a diagnosis, he might not even be aware of it. But if you recognize that, work on building not just yourself, but building an environment that's more accepting and inclusive of everybody. And that's the thing with inclusion, is when you work to make the world more inclusive for like people with disabilities, it actually benefits everybody, because then you can be your weird little self and not worry about being accepted, because you've made a community where everyone is welcome, and not make those people feel less than, or like they don't belong, or maybe just even including them. Make sure maybe they go sit off by themselves all the time. Maybe they're anxious, right? They have social anxiety. They don't know how to that was me as a kid. I didn't know how to approach people. Like, I don't know how to get into the group. Invite, hey, you want to come sit with us? You want to come do this with us? They might say no. It might take a few times for them to feel, because maybe they think, well, they don't really want me over there, right? You keep inviting them. Okay, maybe I should try it out. It takes a while to warm up sometimes, but try to include those kids and not just, let them be pushed to the side.
Yeah, assume that they want to be excluded.
A lot of
Just
those
because
kids
they
really
aren't
want to
making an
be a
effort.
part of it. They want friends. They want to be a part of the group. They just don't know how.
Yeah, my 7-year-old will run across the street to all the little kids in the neighborhood that are playing baseball or football, something that he's not really interested in doing. And, he'll go over there and kind of yell and tell his story about whatever he's interested in. And he's like, all right, bye guys. And it's like just that 5 minutes of them being like, sure, Norman, is like really helpful for him.
Yeah.
What kinds of things do you want us to keep in mind as we do this play?
She had a question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead. No, go for it.
I was wondering if there are any specific things or examples that you can think of that like a teacher or other adults have done regarding your kids, or also you, Jude, that you like that they do, that you think that's helpful, or things that don't work in your situation versus things that do.
So what you're asking is, what can we do to help neurodivergent people to help get neurodivergent people into the world and able to like do whatever the heck they want to do?
Yeah,
Cause,
yeah.
okay, yeah. Thank you for so one thing I will say is that when I was in elementary school in music class, like it would just get so loud and I was like well, I've had a little for you guys, but so I got like headphones there, but like now that but like at some point I feel like you can start getting over stuff, but that doesn't mean I still don't get overwhelmed by a lot of noises. Like there's this one more recent time which happened this year. I'm in 6th grade now, and 5th grade starts where I go to, but you know. So like basically what happened before was like hey, can you guys please pay attention?
I thought I said he's in 6th grade. I thought you were a lot older.
He's very, very tall.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
tall.
he's 12. He's very
I'm
tall.
Mom.
He's very proud of how tall he is. Okay, sit down.
Pay attention.
So what happened? Was it banned?
No. So this is like, so basically, my cousins and my little brother were being like really loud, right? They're like, Jude to this, Jude to this, Jude to this, and I'm like, yeah. And then my mom saw it, and I was like, no, I'm fine. I don't, because like when you're overwhelmed, you're like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I absolutely need to do this. And then like, of course, when you do something, and then my mom was like, just go in here. You go into this quieter room, and it's like, so if that was like a spring, like I think she said, I forgot who said that.
Do you remember who your mom is?
Yeah, I know who my mom is. I just don't know who said decompress.
No.
So like the way I imagine that is like a spring, like if you're getting, or like a balloon, like if like the more stress that builds up inside that balloon, once there's too much, it's just no.
There you go.
Ooh,
There you go.
yeah.
Now we're all stimming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
Feels good. Do it again.
I don't think I have an
Oh.
answer to that
I was
question.
just gonna say this.
Uh-huh.
But like all that stress that builds up inside of you is like the air or gas that goes into the balloon. Like let's say that like you like woke up tired, and that that you woke up early but you're slow, so you're late. That's quite a bit. And then you miss. Did I already say you missed breakfast? Did I already say that? Okay. So you miss breakfast. That's even more. And then it's like your best friend is like gone, and then your second best friend is acting up again or whatever. I don't know. And then and there's a really bad substitute teacher. And then the only normal teacher you got is the one that you don't like, and they're extra bad because you're like trying to calm yourself down. You're like a little slower. You're like trying to compose yourself, and then
Yeah.
she's like, "Hey, principal's office," but the principal is actually pretty good, and they're like, "What the heck? Go back to class." And then it's recess, but for some reason all of your friends are playing this game that you yourself do not want to play, and you don't play it, and then you do play this other game that you do like to play, but you're not good at it, so you lose. And then you have band and choir, and those are really loud. And then finally, when you realize you have homework, and then it's like 20 pages or whatever that you have to deal with, and it's due tomorrow. It's just that balloon. I mean, you can hold it in for a little longer. Nothing else bad is going on, but the balloon's rubber, it has a durability. It can't hold that forever. So when you get home, you've held it up for this long, and then you realize that your friend was actually on a really cool place. You're just like,
Pops.
So how can
Yeah.
you decompress that before it pops?
just like I mean your parents, if you don't know any coping skills, and then I think you should tell your parents like at least a general description, like bad or good, fine can be either way, but I don't necessarily care, because fine is somewhere in the middle, right? And then but that balloon instantly gets the talking is hard.
Pause, let it reset.
Shoot, that EXE is not responding.
Wait, you were talking about decompressing the balloon.
Yeah. So what I do is I just take deep breaths, I don't just focus on that. I don't know how or why in the world it works. It works, and then that's the only coping skill I ever use, really, other than having privacy. But does privacy count as a coping skill?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does.
That's his number one. That's like his catchphrase. I need privacy.
Do you do the same kind of things? Do they work for you?
Yeah, I mean, we're similar. I would say that one of the biggest differences, at least between me and Jude, is that Jude can be a sensory seeker. So a lot of autistic people, they can be both, but sensory seeking and sensory avoiding. Sensory seeking, people like loud noises. They like a lot of times physical stuff. Like his little brother loves slamming his body into the couch or whatever, wrestling. And they may like one thing but not the other. So Jude can be very much in some situations a sensory seeker, especially he loves noise. If it's his noise, he doesn't like music or
Some music I do.
depending on what it is. I tend to get more overwhelmed with that. I tend to be more avoidant. That's too much for me. But yeah, I see some of the coping strategies.
I never really see you ever say I need privacy, or say you're overwhelmed.
But I go to the bedroom.
Yeah, but it's just something I have never noticed.
Well, I don't announce it. But yeah.
But I feel like if you would just announce it, it would be okay, bye. It would just be a whole lot.
Well, sometimes I say I'm going for a drive, or I go to the bedroom. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I
Give us
would.
a full report on what's going on, why, what are you feeling, how's it gonna help you?
I would have just said, please leave me alone, and that would give me the message.
I
Because I say that.
I appreciate the sensory seeker and the sensory avoidant, because which do you think Christopher is? I don't want to tell you, but very much so. The character Christopher is very much avoidant, and yeah.
But a lot of kids you hear, maybe they shriek or squeal, making noises. That's them trying to get sensory input. You know, they like the noise, they like the sound. Even when we were all going, it's because we like the sound and it feels fun to make it, right? It feels good to make it on your lips, and it's fun sound, and so you keep doing it. And that sensory input can be sound, it can be visual. You know, have you ever had like a really cool, I don't know if you guys even know, like a screensaver or something, and you're just like mesmerized by it, you know? It can be visual, it can be touch, you know?
Or even can it be like a certain little snippet of a song that's stuck in your head?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it just feels good to keep singing.
Yeah.
Pink Pony Club.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
why are you
Yeah.
listening
Yeah.
on repeat? You know?
Well,
It's
I
like,
was
it
gonna
feels
say
good.
Christopher, he likes order, and so he is sensory seeking in an orderly way, which is why he will recite the prime numbers. It's orderly in his brain when things are getting chaotic around him.
Yeah.
So it sometimes looks outwardly that he is avoiding sensory, but actually he's providing his own sensory that it feels ordered and makes sense to him when everything around him is starting to not make sense.
Yeah, when you feel like everything's chaotic, you kind of make your own order. And I love that you said that, because there is something that I would love to bring up. It's kind of this what they call the problem of double empathy. There is a very strong stereotype that autistic people do not have feelings. They don't show empathy.
Robots.
Yeah. That is
I like
absolutely
robots, but I'm not a
100%
robot.
not true. Do you have feelings?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that is very much a stereotype that they are unable to have empathy. Most autistic people I've met are the exact opposite. It's not that they don't have feelings or that they don't feel empathy, but they feel it so much more than everybody else that they tend to shut down. And I've experienced that myself. And there's been times where people are like, why are you so stoic? Like maybe a funeral or something. And it's not that I'm not feeling it. It's that the feeling was so big and overwhelming that I could just it's like you kind of shut down because it's too much. And so please remember that when you're interacting with people, because you may think, oh, they're not connecting, or they're not, maybe it feels like they should be showing sympathy in a different way or something like that. It doesn't mean that they're not feeling it inside. They just may not express it the way that you expect them to.
Kind of like the all or nothing thing you were talking about.
Yeah. Basically, everything tends to be very heightened, right? Because what we're talking about with autism is sensory input, from every kind of sensory input. And it tends to everything tends to be bigger and more extreme, whichever direction you go. And they've even shown that on brain scans. They've done brain scans with people, and there are parts of their brain lit up, whereas most people, you talk or you read or you do whatever, certain parts of your brain light up, and they'll do it with like an autistic brain, and it's like their whole brain's lit up. So that's why they get overwhelmed, and it's literally in their brain. Like their brain has all parts firing all the time. And
I'm so glad you talked about that. Thank you. That's gonna help us a lot, I think,
May
with
I
our
say something?
interpretations and stuff like
She
that.
has one more question.
Super.
Wait, who?
she's the
I
teacher.
do. Sorry. As we do this play, like, there is absolutely controversy to doing this play and stuff. Like, I really want to I want for good things to come out of this play and to do it the right way. And so, do you have things that you want us to keep in mind? Obviously, the empathy and how we treat people in our day-to-day lives and things like that. Absolutely. Is there anything else that you can think
I
of
wish
that?
there could be discussion. I know it's a play, but like at the end of
That would be cool.
like how was he treated? Maybe you could type up some discussion questions for families to discuss.
We could do a talk back after the show. Like,
Oh.
I think that would
absolutely.
be, because then you can talk about and you could introduce the audience to things like stimming or sensory overload or things
She's
like
like,
that.
yes.
Yes!
You know?
Oh my gosh!
And you can
yes,
point out
please.
examples in the play of where that happened.
Oh my gosh!
Like when
Or
he
even
did
like
this, he had sensory overload, and
on.
when he did this, he was stimming, and
I
maybe
love
you
this.
could give out some pamphlets with information.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes,
It's like
that's-
is it the playbill?
Yeah.
Maybe like things in the back of that, like questions or
Yeah.
Or even some links. You said you had links
Oh,
to,
lots of links.
yeah,
Oh,
but
I
like,
We
Let
could
me tell
have
you,
a
my
whole
friends are
table
so
out
good
there
at
with
doing
stuff about
resources
autism.
and like
wish she was here.
We're all about autism advocacy.
I wish Asia
one
was
thing-
here for
another
publicity.
idea,
Me
You could have a talk with people, but another thing you guys could do is you could put together a video
Oh yeah.
explaining, telling about different facets of autism and pointing out. But you
The
could
QR code.
you could tell the audience we have an informational video. We have a video we made about autism. We'd love to share with you if you'd like to stick around. Let the people who want to leave, and then you can.
Oh, good idea.
That is
That
so
you made
good.
so that you're all in
And
it
put a
part.
QR code to the video for the people that.
Yep. And I mean, I would love to have a whole table out there with local resources and like oh my gosh, yes.
Who's going?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm so excited.
Because we did something like that last year with our Java 2 club.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it wasn't for it was for emotional mental health. That oh my gosh. I love the idea of having a talk back. I love the idea of doing like a video thing.
It would also be
So
nice
good.
if you gave information. I don't know. So Wichita State, I know once or twice a year does free screenings. So if you found out like that information, because you guys aren't old enough to have to worry about healthcare yet, but it can also be expensive. So a lot of times it may be covered for kids. For an adult like me, basically they say you're an adult, you made it, you don't need help anymore. I mean, I probably had to pay $300 to get my evaluation, and not everybody can do that. And so finding resources where people can, like, I'm worried about my kid. There are resources for kids. Well, I would invite Cooper. Cooper's a big, both of our kids went to Cooper.
Okay.
They do a lot of work. There are providers around, but, giving people resources of there's an organization called Rainbows United, and there's a couple, they may just be Sedgwick County, but there's several places like that will do free speech services for kids that are under 3. And a lot of times that's where they pick up on that stuff.
Yeah. I think in this community, probably Cooper is the biggest.
Yeah, I'd say Cooper.
Okay.
You could
For
also
little
maybe
kids.
connect
Right.
with Heart Spring.
Yes.
There's the Harvey, it's so many letters, but it's like Harvey County, Marion County Community Disability Organization.
Okay.
There's Trinity Heights Respite Care.
Okay.
So there's, if you wanted to have like a table or
Yep.
list or stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And then I guess to answer your question, that I don't know how you guys can do this, but if you can figure out a way to portray the character as someone that has value
Absolutely.
in the community.
Absolutely.
And not just make him relatable. So he's not just oh, there's just this weird kid and I don't feel any connection to him. They need to connect to him and know this is a real person. And I just had another idea, if you do make a video, there's this whole weird concept of what autism looks like. And there's people joke online because they always say, well, you don't look like you have autism. You don't look autistic. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And, they always joke honey, brush your hair over to the other side, so you look more autistic, It would be cool if you connected with some of those groups and maybe you could have a little montage of this is what autism looks like, and just different people, different ages, male, female.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Going back to how you
show.
said make the
Yep.
character relatable.
Yep.
I'm sure there's
This is-
examples
yes.
in the play where you can.
I totally
the autistic
agree.
person is doing something, but it's we all kind of do that. Like how we were talking about
That's-
stimming.
yes.
We all kind of do this thing, but
Or we could make it a prompt,
Let's-
have like a clip
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
But I love, so Miss Horn just talked about doing this is what autism looks like before the show even starts,
Yeah.
so that we can get people you know what I mean?
What does autism look like?
Yeah, just
It's all
humanizing
these,
it, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Because we're really bad in our society, especially that once we get a word, we can dehumanize it so
Yeah.
fast.
And stereotyping.
And
Yeah.
I know that we're really focusing on autism here. I taught at Chisholm a few years ago. I was wondering if any of my kids were here. And we had a neurodiverse. Wait,
Yeah, you seem very familiar. You had me in class.
you look familiar.
Really?
What are your names?
Gracie, Allison.
Gracie's in
Yeah, I
there.
think I was your 7th grade English teacher.
Yeah.
They're like, yes,
No
we remember
way.
you.
They look so different. I mean, everybody's
Oh yeah, they
I'm
do.
like
so hip and cool and adult now.
different.
When you just
One-
talked, I was like, whoa, you sound like you're a grown
I was
up.
kind of hoping. I was
One
like, maybe
question.
I'll see some. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you. You guys just look so different. You're all grown up.
One question.
But we did a, so they had asked me, they were doing a thing with Heartspring, and they were wanting, like I said, I kind of advocated for where to go. It's my favorite. I would say it's my special interest. But they were gonna do like an autism thing, and I talked to them, and we changed it to, we did a neurodiversity week. Do you guys remember that we did a neurodiversity week? Because like we had one day was like Pokemon, because I don't know if you know this, the creator of Pokemon, he's autistic. That's why he created Pokemon. He loved bug collecting so much, but he didn't want to hurt the bugs.
That's so cool.
So he created Pokemon so that he didn't have to hurt the bugs.
That's awesome.
So
I
we had a
love
different
Pokemon.
thing. We had like a sensory day where we wore like soft clothing and different things like that. And the reason that I asked them to focus on neurodiversity rather than just on autism is because a lot of people say, well, I don't know anyone who's autistic, or I don't relate to that. But the fact is, the whole idea of neurodiversity is that everybody's brain functions differently. Every single person, your brain functions differently.
That's true. Yep, because we
And
usually do a spirit
when we're
week.
more accepting of that, we're a lot more willing to accept other people's quirks and different, like, why do they do that? That drives me crazy. Well, guess what? Their brain is processing information differently than yours is. And so I don't know, if you can focus on this, the idea of neurodiversity, maybe you're not autistic, but like, your brain doesn't function the same as everybody else's brain here. They all are processing information differently.
Yeah, we do a spirit week before each show that's like themed. So that
Okay,
might be
I'll
a
send
great.
you, I found some, well, I stole it from online. I had found a thing on
Ooh.
I'll send it to you.
That'd be awesome.
So one question. Any questions for me, please? I would like.
He's
I would
feeling-
like.
He's feeling left out.
Yes. Like any questions. It could be the dumbest of the dumbest questions.
How about this?
Look at
Can
all
he do the
hands.
last? Oh no, they have questions. Never mind.
You-
Just about Geometry Dash. I know it's just a game, but is there a reason it appeals to you so much?
Yeah, I really like skill-based games.
Oh.
Sort of like games like Celeste, Zelda, Mario.
Which Zelda?
Which yeah.
Probably the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, or Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, or even the
Amazing.
Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Sounds like all of them.
Amazing.
No,
They're the
they're-
newer, the
oh,
newer
there's so
ones.
many.
The newer ones is what they
Yo,
say.
They're so good.
I was gonna ask, this might be what you consider as a dumb question,
I
but
don't
when you
get it.
walk into a room and you have, say you have nothing, so it's just you, and you walk into the room, what's like the first thing you think of when you look into the room? Like, are you thinking of somewhere to go, or are you looking for something, or like, what do you think of when you are in a
That
new
is-
space?
So one question: Is it like just like a normal room, or is it just like a white void?
It's a room. Say you have a new teacher and you've never been in their class before, and you
Okay.
walk into there. What's the first thing you're thinking of when you're in there, other than like, oh, this is my new teacher?
Like, are you looking at space? Are you looking at people?
I'm probably going to be talking to the teacher. So I'm pretty sure you had a question.
Oh, hey.
I was gonna ask about Geometry Dash.
I do not care.
Yeah, talk about
I will
Geometry
be
Dash all
open
day.
to talk about the Geometry Dash
Hold
game.
on, I wanna circle back to what your question was. I mean, I don't know what my 7-year-old is thinking, but definitely we've learned with new spaces, like, it's good to give him a preview of the space before throwing him into a situation that's in a new space. For example, school, right? So back to teacher night. Okay, we're not gonna come to back to teacher night or back to school night, whatever it's called, where there's a million people and it's busy and he's in a new space and with a new teacher. So like our school invites us to come earlier in the day when it's just him, and he goes into the room and he's bouncing off the wall and he's talking to the teacher, but like he had time to do that without the pressure of everything else going on. Here's another example. He played t-ball. Like, he practiced at one field and then the games were at another field. So we're like, okay, we better go check out the field where the games are at, because he's gonna go to that field and be like, this isn't where we play t-ball, you know? So I don't know if that answered the question, but just kind of a little bit more
We
like
do that
insight
too.
into like how we help him with new spaces.
Not so much with him, because he's not as anxious, but his little brother's anxious, and we do the same thing. Like, first of the year, we go let him see the classroom. I know, we go let him see the classroom. We also talk through what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
so that it's not, I mean, even before we came here, like, we always talk through, this is what's gonna happen. This is the things we're gonna do, the order we're gonna do them, so that they can mentally prepare, and it's not just like I don't know what I'm walking into. I mean, who likes that? You don't know what you're walking into, but they can kind of mentally prepare of like, okay, this is, get my expectations in order.
Ed does
Okay,
that.
talk about geometry dash.
Okay, so what was your question about Geometry Dash?
So like you said you like skill-based games, like what's your favorite part like of Geometry Dash? Like is it that it's just hard in general at some points, or is like there's a lot of movement, like moving pieces?
So one thing I like is that if like it's like difficult, it's like, hey, come challenge yourself, and it's actually fun, like, and you know, it's like you challenge yourself because you can also like make your own levels, which I do. Sorry to you, but I should have said earlier that I also like making levels.
That's
So
probably your favorite part, and I mean, he spends a lot of time making levels, building. He likes to code, and
So like Minecraft
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
creator.
he really loves to create his own thing.
What was your question again? I'm sorry, I forgot.
So like you like skill-based games, like so what's your favorite part of it? Is it like the difficulty? Is it that there's so many like moving pieces, like there's so many things that you like, you could jump, like you can go down, like is there some, what's your favorite part of that?
My favorite part is like, so the only way I can describe it is that you're choosing to challenge yourself, and it isn't, and unless you're playing a bad level, a good level would like it's throwing stuff at you, but you can like react and dodge to it, and like in harder parts and you finally do it, it's just super cool. And also so it's also that when you're making a level in Geometry Dash, which my newest level is actually called my newest level that I chose to make is called Double Star Energy. It was supposed to be a 2-star easy level, but it got normal. But if my account name is Jude, so you can find it easily. But basically,
you guys buy the levels from him?
no, no. The way it works is that you buy the game, one purchase, done. You go search. You just type in Jude Team capital with a capital J and T, and you just click the search for people button. You click on the account, and then you go to the second level that's there, or maybe the third.
People build levels, and then other people can play them, and they can like
Yeah.
rank them. and
Sorry,
stuff.
it's not teaching me how to play games.
Yep.
Also I'm also working on my own a new level in Geometry Dash. It's called, I just called it the build because it's like the song like builds up, and the song is Ultimate Destruction. And if anyone here recognizes it, it's from a old Geometry Dash trailer for like the game and stuff. And so yeah, that's just what I wanted to put. And as soon as
He's not paying attention, he's on Geometry Dash.
He's
Oh.
trying.
I found you.
He found you on
Another word for you guys to
Yeah,
look up:
yeah.
perseveration.
what's perseveration mean?
I also want to know.
It's when you get stuck on a topic and you can't, like, you're so focused on it, you can't move on.
I think he wants to come look at it.
Hold on, Allison had a question.
I know, I told him, but he wanted to keep talking about Geometry Dash.
After.
Okay, Jude has a question.
Yeah.
So whenever you play games, because usually I also play Geometry Dash, but I also play like Roblox, like obstacles, that type of stuff. But I usually turn the music off. I'm not the type of player with, I don't know, for some reason I have to have the music off for me to concentrate and actually play the game. If not, it stresses me out. So I was wondering if you work better with the music on or off.
First of all, I'm not allowed to play Roblox, but second of all, for me, it's like the exact opposite. It's like, throw me into like Poltergeist or whatever, and Poltergeist is a Geometry Dash level for those of you who do not play it.
Yep.
My mom.
I know, I'm aware you've.
Yeah, and then you slam on a different song. It's like, it just completely throws me off, because the way my brain works is that if there's something I can associate this other thing with, my brain will probably associate it with if it's like convenient. Like the song Poltergeist for like the level Poltergeist. So if you throw in a different song, it throws off my brain because my brain knows Poltergeist and. Or I should have used Hexagon Force as an example. I love that one. Yeah, but basically, with the song I'm using in my level, it's kind of throwing me off as I'm building level 2 a little bit. Because like when I think of the song, I'll get to you now.
Now? Is it
Now.
because like the certain levels are associated with their songs?
Yeah.
Is it because you can't associate with the song with what you're saying because you know it already goes with something else?
No, it's just that I have to also associate it with this other thing. So I've gotten used to it, and also this is unrelated, but I would like you to like maybe play one of my levels. Oh no.
Don't have to tell me twice.
What? What?
Don't have to tell me twice. I will.
I mean, my easiest one is called Double Star Energy. If you want to try it out, it's called Double Star because it's 2-star, energy because it's energetic, not the stereotypical 2-star level. Which, yeah.
Any other? We're a little past time. Any other questions you guys
Sorry, we're all
have?
talkers.
No, you're good. I love it. This
Well, I
has
don't know
been
if she
so
is, we
beneficial.
are.
Any other questions?
Or those two too.
Why'd you guys choose this play?
That's her.
That's me.
Why'd you choose this
Multiple. So I always think of our talent, and then I try and do contrasting pieces to what we've done in the past, so that they get a very well-rounded theatrical experience. I read the book when I was in college, and I fell in love with it. Around the same time that I fell in love with a man who we later discovered was autistic. So for me, it's also like, Mark and I have seen the play before, and he was one of those people that was like, oh my gosh, I'm being represented. Like, this is.
Was he diagnosed at the time?
It was right before he was officially tested, when we were finally starting to open the door, and he's like, maybe, but he didn't want to officially, but so it's kind of a love letter to him, really. Which I know is cheesy. But yeah. So, and I think it's really important.
The cool thing about diagnosis, and this is what the therapist told me that diagnosed me, she said that another client had told her, all my life I thought I was a broken neurotypical, and now I finally realize I'm a perfectly functioning autistic person. And that feeling of like recognizing, like, wait a minute, I'm not just broken, like there's a reason that this is hard for me.
Why do people even think that in the first place?
Honey, we live in a different
Yep.
world.
Different.
Culture.
Yeah.
Back then, everyone was like, "Oh yes, Mickey, may I have some tea?" And now it's like, America!
Oh my.
Yes. Back in the 1990s, we were all.
Yeah. Mark's dad is actually